My wife, Jenna, 28 female, and I, 32 male, had our daughter, Avralia, a few months ago. We've been together for 10 years and married for 3. We both live out of state from our families, and neither of us has the best relationship with them, though Jenna's family has made a lot of effort to come and visit, mend bridges, and interact with Avralia since she was born. My family, mom 52, stepdad 55, 3 younger brothers nearly adult to 21, live an extra few hours away and are yet to meet her. It's important to note that my mom and Jenna do not get along. Mom has always had something to say about Jenna, and the older Jenna's gotten and the longer it's gone on, the less Jenna's been willing to let it go over her head. This has resulted in us spending the last 10 years doing separate holiday visits. My plan this year was to drop Jenna at her parents' place safely after the flight, carry on the extra 3-hour drive with Avralia to mine, and then pick her up on December 23rd so we could spend Christmas Day as a family. Unfortunately, Jenna's response was simply no. In our house, no is usually a complete sentence, but I asked her why, and her response was, "We talked about this when I was pregnant. You never had my back with your mom, so I don't trust you to advocate for Avralia, and since she's never made an effort to be around her, I'm not comfortable with letting you take our baby into that environment without me, and I'm not going to go somewhere it's evident that I'm not wanted." I brought up the fact that I want my daughter to know my step/parents and her side of the family, and that Jenna was stopping that from happening, and how unfair it was to my mom, given that her parents have been here at least twice a month since she's been born and has been able to have that bonding time. I told her I would drop her off and take Avralia anyway, or Avralia and I would fly into my parents' home airport, but one way or another, she would be meeting them this Christmas. That's when Jenna just cracked and broke. She started bawling and repeating how she couldn't believe I'd put her in that position. And when I told this story to my best friend at the pub, even he raised his eyebrow and said that it wasn't a good move. Jenna has been sleeping on the couch, and I'm beginning to feel awful and second-guessing everything. Am I the idiot? Or am I right in standing my ground here? My wife doesn't want our daughter to meet my family. I'm insisting. Wife is melting down. You are the idiot. Your wife is absolutely correct. She's put up with your mom's idiocy for 10 years. 10 years where you obviously didn't have her back, or your mother would have shut up and figured out a way to coexist by now. Your wife is correct. You need to figure out a way to talk to your mom and say, "Now that my daughter's here, the rude comments and jerk behavior stop. Period." Also, an infant is still pretty reliant on her mother. Also, I can't believe your wife has been sleeping on the couch. You're lucky it hasn't been a hotel. If I was her, I wouldn't be on the couch, and it wouldn't be me. I'm honestly just shocked at the ignorance here. I can't believe OP doesn't realize his behavior and how completely messed up this situation is for his wife. You cannot be serious. My God, you are the idiot. Jesus, your wife is not keeping your daughter from meeting your parents. Your parents could have visited at any time in the past 6 months. Have you ever cared for or fed the baby by yourself? She's only an infant, and you don't mention how long you plan to separate the baby from her mother. Plus, an infant will not suddenly know your freaking family members. Are you planning on flying out every month? Taking your daughter with you? Go ahead and get the divorce you're aiming for right now. Ask for summer custody, and then maybe your family can visit during that time, now that Jenna won't be in the house. But of course, it's just as likely they won't bother to travel either. Your family has made no effort to mend the relationship, and you admit your mother in particular treats your wife terribly. That's why they shouldn't meet your daughter on their own. And why does your wife have to continue to look past this treatment? Why does your mother get to continue to speak badly about her? It's unfair to my mom that her parents have gotten to see the baby. Your mom put herself in this position. You don't get to treat someone like crap for a decade, then surprise Pikachu face when they don't want their baby around you. If your mom wants to see the baby, she should try to make amends. At this point, it's clear they aren't going to be best friends, but she does have to treat your wife with cordial respect. My fiance has what I consider to be a slightly unhealthy attachment to his dog Mila. It's all stupid little things, but they do add up, such as he won't leave the house without her, and he always gets her an expensive bone for every outing for being such a good girl. Even if she just got into the garbage seconds prior, or letting her jump on everyone because she just wants to give love, and gets offended and or angry if anyone has an issue with it, or like giving her table scraps directly at the table after I've asked him to stop multiple times because now she constantly begs because she just wants the good foods. It even goes as far as I can't even ride shotgun in his truck without this dog on my lap because that's her spot, and she'll whine if she isn't in the front seat. Now, all of this is his fault. Her bad behaviors are 100% him because he's enforcing them because he had a small dog complex and thinks the dog is incapable of being in the wrong. The one thing that truly bothers me to no end is that she'll pull my clothes out of my drawers and lay on them versus lying on her dog bed. She sheds like crazy, so even in the event of washing my clothing, there's still dog hair on it, and it drives me mental because I'd love just one day that I'm not being poked with dog hair or smell like a dog to the extent of which I do. I've asked my fiance to grab my clothes from her if he sees her take them, and he just refuses. So last night when I got home from work, I noticed that he had taken my pullover and put it on the floor for her. It was hanging up, as well as my throw blanket that I sleep with every night, despite her having her own blankets. And when I asked him about it, he said something to the effect of, "She missed you and only stopped whining when I gave her something with your scent on it." At this point, I was just so fed up with my boundaries being crossed. So I grabbed my 3 suitcases from the outside storage and packed up all of my clothing so the dog couldn't get into it and put locks on them, the small cheap locks you get at Walmart for like $2. Now my fiance thought I was leaving, so he immediately started freaking out. And when I told him I was packing my clothes away so he would stop letting his dog sleep on my stuff, he got frustrated and said that I was blowing this up. I'm gonna have dog hair on me regardless, and this is stupid and childish because I'm taking away from the dog's comfort simply because I don't want anyone touching my stuff. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Maybe instead of just packing to protect your clothes, you should take his suggestion and leave. He doesn't respect your boundaries and will continue disrespecting them. None of my dogs over the years have opened and removed clothes from my dresser. They can't physically because of the knobs on all the drawers. I would also be suspicious of how the dog can pull clothes out of the drawers. Quite honestly, your suitcases should be leaving the house along with you. You say it's only this dog issue with your fiance, but it's more than that. He has no respect for you or anyone else by the seams of things. He's a terrible dog parent, which should give you some idea of what it'll be like if you decide to have kids with him. Unfortunately, you'll always have to be the bad guy, and you'll end up with bratty kids because he'll let them run roughshod over you. Agreed. Why are you with someone who has zero respect for you and your things? Have some respect for yourself and find someone who will treat you better. Nothing wrong with a man. My sister, 19, and I, 22 female, are not very close. I don't remember a time when she wasn't the sole focus of our parents' attention. She was diagnosed with a lung problem when she was born, and when she was 3, she developed a rare form of cancer. This meant our parents focused a lot on curing it, and they expected me to be on hand to entertain her, to keep her mind off the cancer, and to make sure she felt loved. Sometimes my parents scolded me for watching TV while she was sick, because how could I take my focus off of her? She would try to get the attention of everyone after a while. When we were kids, we were left out of a couple of family weddings because the bride and groom didn't want her and my parents making her the center of attention for the day. They already did that to my mom's sister. On her wedding day, my sister puked that morning, and my parents decided to tell the whole family beforehand because we'd be late. Then they showed up at the church, and Mom went to the front with my sister and announced to everyone that my sister was okay. My aunt was so mad at her for that. She then had my sister go up to them when they exchanged vows and kiss them. My aunt stopped talking to my mom after that crap show. My sister is used to telling everyone that she knows that she has cancer, that she's got bad lungs, still, and that she's probably going to need more surgeries in the future because her liver or kidneys were harmed by her cancer treatments. I admit to resenting the attention she gets. When I was 17, she asked me why I never pay the same kind of attention that our parents do, and I told her that she's not the only kid I know who survived cancer, because in the real world, people aren't taking their focus off of everything to focus on her or any other cancer survivor. I told her it was rude to bring it up when someone else was celebrating or focusing on something else. She asked me how it could be rude when people never tell her to stop. I told her people told mom and dad to stop, but they just didn't listen. And because she was a kid, they wouldn't say it directly to her. So I kind of walked away from my family after I moved out. My sister reached out to me recently, though, and wanted us to catch up. I was open to it, but once she got here, she started telling everyone about her cancer. She asked me to take days off work to spend with her because of cancer and bored. My girlfriend was over. She bugged her for hours while I was at work, and then called to complain that my girlfriend wouldn't entertain her. When I got home that night, I told her if she wanted to be the center of attention, that she needed to go to our parents because she won't get that anywhere else. She told me I was mean and I just resented her, and it wasn't fair. Am I the idiot for what I said? Not the idiot. It's sad that your sister suffers so much, but you're also a human being and deserve to live your own life and receive your own attention. You aren't obligated to treat her the way your parents did, and your parents should have treated you better. Your parents hurt their children a lot. First, they hurt you by ignoring you. They hurt your sister by turning her into a self-centered brat who really thinks that she's the center of the universe because that's what she's been taught. Sister is what your parents made her. She won't change. You'll be happier if you keep your association with her to a minimum and never invite her to visit again. Agreed. She's gonna milk that cancer cow as long as she can. Sister called to complain that my girlfriend wouldn't entertain her. Holy crap! What 19-year-old needs to be entertained? Get a book, open an app, and play games. Your sister's behavior will push many people away. It's good she starts realizing that now. The sooner, the better. I, 22 female, have a toddler daughter called Odie. I was living alone when I got pregnant, and I'm still living on my own and handling everything myself. My mom babysits only when she asks if she can, because I don't do much other than work, and then I hang out with my kid. My mom loves my daughter more than anything, but she's never been shy about telling me how much she didn't approve of me having a child so young, or that she doesn't approve of Odie's bio dad. That one's fair, I'll give her that. She doesn't approve of my job, etc. I've told her before how much I don't appreciate her lecturing about my life choices under the guise of giving me advice, and I really don't appreciate her doing it in front of Odie. I don't want my daughter to listen to that stuff. I don't want Odie thinking that my having her when I was young ruined my life, because it didn't, and I don't regret any of it. So since my mom still continues giving me advice pretty much every time she comes around or we visit her, I've started randomly singing the cleanup song. I swear it activates toddlers like they're little sleeper agents, because as soon as Odie hears it, she'll immediately drop whatever she's doing and start cleaning while singing it too. My mom was definitely confused the first time I did it, but she's caught on to what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and now she's pretty upset. She says it's immature of me to use my child to get me out of conversations I don't want to be in, and that it's incredibly rude to start singing in the middle of her talking just because I don't like what she has to say. There were probably much more mature ways to go about getting her to quit, and I agree that suddenly singing in the middle of a conversation is rude, but I also feel like this is the least confrontational way of ending the conversation. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This is a genius and hilarious way to handle the situation. I don't care if it might be considered immature by some people. Your mom needs to learn boundaries and stop saying those things to you, especially once your daughter's old enough to catch on. You seem like a great mom. She said it's immature of me to use my child to get me out of conversations. And I say that it's rude and disrespectful of your mom to criticize you in your own place in front of your own kid. Odie is alert and smart, soaking up everything like a sponge. And what she's learning right now, aside from I ruined mommy's life, is that grandma thinks mommy sucks. That's terrible. Tell your mother that's enough. Of course, be prepared for her to flounce out, but maybe that's the price of peace. Yes, this is a hill worth dying on, OP. Either that or get ready for your mom to unload all that criticism on her next victim, Odie. Stand your ground. I'd want to kick her to the curb if I were you. Recently, I was at a local supermarket and I saw an old lady, probably about 70, parking in one of the expected mother parking spaces. When she got out of the car, I was nearby and I just caught her eye, looked at her accusingly, and pointed at the sign. She looked embarrassed because obviously a 70-year-old isn't pregnant. To be clear, this supermarket has a bunch of these expectant mother parking spaces next to the handicapped ones. They're basically the second closest spots to the store and have a sign on it that says expectant mother parking and a picture of a stork carrying a baby on them. When I got home, I told my husband about how I'd seen her taking up one of those spaces, and he said I was in the wrong. He said an old lady should be able to use one of the expectant mother parking spaces, even if she wasn't pregnant, because otherwise it could be a long walk for her. And there was already a bunch of them empty at the store anyway. But I think if she needs to walk less, she can probably just qualify for a handicap placard and should get one of those. Sorry, you are the idiot. You harassed someone's 70-year-old pensioner, Graham, who was going to pick up her heart medication and supplies to possibly make her last Christmas pudding for the family Christmas. You're being a busybody and not minding your own business, to be honest. I mean, who goes far enough to shame an old lady? No one appointed you as the parking police. Disagree. The world needs more people like you, OP. We can't let those dangerous gangs of geriatrics take up parking spots willy-nilly. The entire world might devolve into lawlessness. Geez, stop looking for things to be angry about. It's not your business. She wasn't breaking the law. She wasn't elbowing a 9-month pregnant lady out of the way to take the spot. It didn't harm you, or apparently anyone else. A little bit of grace goes a long way. Parking in handicapped without a tag or placard? Screw those people. But you probably made an elderly lady feel like crap, and it was unnecessary. I wish they'd call them for people who need a little extra help spaces. Truth. People are weirdly protective of them. I was 8 months pregnant and parked in one. Some self-appointed parking monitor walked up behind me, saying that I needed to move because that was only for expectant mothers, parents with small children. So I turned around. She stopped mid-rant. I then opened the back door and got out my toddler. She suddenly found somewhere else to be.